naturally when you're self-employed, like when life sort of gets a little bit quieter or things sort of slow down, like you naturally just like panic. You feel like really like, oh, I'm not doing anything, or like I don't even feel like stimulated. Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm just doing like my fitness classes, and then it's like a bus and it all comes at once. So like I know in a few weeks I'm going to be like, oh my god, I'm so busy, and then just start like freaking out again, because you don't know what you're doing at first. I think like a lot of brands do exploit creators, but I agreed to it, so it was my own fault. Do you know what I mean? I just did have no idea what I was doing. They sent me some product and asked for some video footage back, and then it got boosted into like paid ads like all around the world. Like it was everywhere. Like it was coming up on Instagram, it was coming up on YouTube, it was coming up on like Facebook. I was the only person like from home who'd moved to London. I didn't know anyone in London when I moved when I was like 18. You're still so young when you're that age. Like you're a child. Yeah, I just found it really difficult. The first night we had this like freshers party, and it was in a flat, and like people were like doing like actual dance offs and like doing like the splits against the wall, and like I was like, oh, so like what are you, like, are you a dancer, are you a singer, are you an actress, like what are you, like? And I remember just like thinking, oh my god, this is just not me. Like what's next? Or you just feel like you should be doing something, and you feel like, I feel like our generation and sort of like with social media, you always think like you could be better in yourself. There's always something that you could be doing. So when you kind of watching the telly, you're like, oh my god, I'm a failure, and you're just not.
Sensational.
And go.
Hello.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
It's nice to have you back.
I know.
And that probably doesn't make any sense because I don't think we've had an episode with you.
No.
But fun fact, we recorded with Lydia on our first ever Sensational recording.
She was our
first guest.
I was like the guinea pig,
you
wasn't
were the
I?
guinea pig. I was going to say hamster, but
Oh.
it's not hamster. It's a
It's
guinea
guinea
pig.
pig.
Hamsters are cuter. Should we say hamster? Hamster.
Maybe.
Are they cuter?
They're just like little
They're all
rats,
that
aren't they?
kind of rodent family,
Yeah.
aren't they? I mean,
Rodent.
yeah, right.
Well, yeah, it was
Is
like,
that
I think we
right?
spent like 2 hours like
We
doing that.
did.
It really like just kind of.
We were just
I was there for
chatting.
ages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was at that time where it went dark. Around now as well, like when it went dark
It
at
was.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think it was
pretty
November
much-
last year.
It was, yeah.
It was about this time last year. That's wild.
Yeah.
A
Madness.
year on. Well, it's
Absolutely.
nice to have you on an actual
I
episode.
know, it's exciting. I'm excited.
So do you want us to do the introduction to who you are, or do you want to do that to the camera? How do you want to do this?
My camera over here.
Your camera over there. do
No,
you
that's
wanna-
no.
You don't want to do
no,
that?
No. It's like breaking. I don't know. I feel like I'm acting, like doing a self-tape.
You are.
like, Hi.
Give us that self-tape energy.
So my name is Lydia Jervis. See, I'm doing exactly
That's
like
so
you are
good.
So self-taping right now.
Marcus, you can just introduce me. Like I feel like I'm literally like, here's my hands, here's my no, like act mode.
Okay.
You introduce me.
Ready?
Let me see how you introduce me. Actually, that would be.
Yeah,
Okay.
you do a pretty good intro.
I do.
Go on.
Lydia
Yeah.
from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Lives in London.
Yeah, that is a lot of help.
She's a PT.
I am qualified as a PT, but I
There you
mainly
go.
just teach. Well, actually, I only teach fitness classes, so I teach 10 fitness classes a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Model.
yeah,
Used to be a dancer.
yeah.
Professionally trained in musical
In
theatre.
musical theatre, yeah.
And just a lovely person.
Just
Aw,
an all-round
I
10 out of
Lovely
10.
person.
Yeah, happy with that intro. Well done.
So talk to us. So right now,
Yeah.
in the industry, I would say it's pretty quiet in terms of November. I think November
Yeah,
typically is quite a quiet month.
I would agree.
jobs drop
I
off.
think
They do.
like a lot of the Christmas stuff has been filmed like months in advance. Like I've had like 3 Christmases, I think, in August. And it, yeah, and then even a lot of like side content creators as well, even a lot of sort of those collabs have already been filmed to be approved for December.
Yeah.
So at the minute, it's a little bit quieter for me, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
telling myself
enjoying
I'm
it?
okay with that. Yeah, it's just I think like naturally when you're self-employed, like when life sort of gets a little bit quieter or things sort of slow down, like you naturally just like panic.
Yeah.
Like you feel like really like, oh, I'm not doing anything, or like I'm not. Sometimes I don't even feel like stimulated. Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm just doing like my fitness classes, and then you just kind of have
Itchy
What
feet
is-
almost. Like,
yeah,
need
yeah.
to
I'm like, oh my
move.
god, like what's gonna happen? But
Yeah.
then and for me, I always say it's like a bus and it all comes at once. So like
Yeah.
I just know in a few weeks I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so busy, and then just start like freaking out again. So
How long is it taking you to get to that kind of mindset?
What do you mean by what? Like accepting that?
Yeah,
Accepting
not
that.
panicking
Oh my
when
God,
things
like-
slow down.
Like last week or something. I was speaking to
5 minutes
I
ago.
was speaking to a friend of mine, Bianca, and she's also self-employed, and she was kind of saying like when you're self-employed, always tell yourself to live off your worst month. Rather, do you know what I mean? Like when
That's
you're
really
self-employed
good
and you get
advice.
like, oh my God, I've made this month, I've been so busy and this, that, the other. She's like, never like let that get too carried away. You should always live from your worst month. But yeah, for me, it's not even about like money or anything. It's just sometimes I'm like, oh, I just want, what's next? Like you just kind of get a bit like,
Does the anxiety come from the fact that you think you're not going to work ever again, or does it come from?
No. I think it's just like a bit of boredom, to be honest, and like when you kind of feel like you're Marcus.
Come on
That
now.
was not me.
Come on.
First cardinal rule of recording.
That's not me.
You and that
Silent
Android.
phones, please. Yeah, that
Silent.
Android people.
Would
I'm
never
telling
have happened
you,
if you had an iPhone.
it would have just been.
Sorry, go on.
What was he saying?
You were talking about your worst month, your best month, living off your worst month.
Yeah.
Bianca.
Yeah. And then what?
Shout out.
Yeah, I think it comes from like a bit of boredom. I don't know, just kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, like what's next? Or you just feel like you should be doing something, and you feel like, I feel like our generation and sort of like with social media, you always think like you could be bettering yourself. There's always stuff that you could be doing. So when you kind of just
No,
like
I get it.
to the
As
telly, you're like, oh my God, I'm a failure, and you're just not.
yeah, it's that. I feel like as creatives, especially someone like you that is in so many different industries, doing so many different things.
Yeah.
When maybe like 2 out of those 5 things aren't running, you're like, well, because we're always constantly overstimulating ourselves. You do naturally feel like, well,
Yeah.
that's it.
What am I? I'm like, oh my God, what's my purpose? Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? But it doesn't. My housemate's really good, and they're my best friends. I've lived with my housemates for the past couple of years, and we've known each other since we were 11. I'm 26 now, so we're like besties. But we have such different lives. Hannah has like more of an office job, 9 to 5, and she just kind of brings me back down to earth a lot of the time.
Does she?
Yeah, she's like, shut up. Oh, poor you. Like, the life's so hard, isn't it? Like, I'm like, no, you are right. Yeah. So I've got like good, friends. That sort of.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've got the good people.
Bring you back to
around
reality. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's funny. Like, it is funny. Like having jobs like this. Like, cause sat here on a Monday to doing a podcast. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you have like, you do kind of funny things, and sometimes you just need a bit of a reality check, I think.
Yeah, a bit humbling.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, in terms of coming to London, moving to London, find it quite a difficult or challenging move. How did you find it when you first came
Totally
there?
agree.
Yeah.
I literally, honestly hated it. Like, well, I was 18 when I moved here, and now I've got so many friends here, and I've made like a life here. But I was the only person like from home who'd moved to London. I didn't know anyone in London when I moved. And I was like 18. You're still so young when you're that age.
Yeah.
Like, you're a child, and yeah, I just found it really difficult. And I went to theatre school as well.
Okay,
and
so a lot of big personalities.
Yeah, like a lot of big personalities. And I think I'm like not a big personality, but quite confident. But some of these people are just, and people who I grew to love. But when you just first meet people, and you're like, oh my God, I've never been around people like this before.
Yeah.
It was just a lot at first. Like, I remember the first night, and I actually don't think, I'm not dragging anyone by saying this, but we went the first night, we had this like, it's like freshers party, and it was in a flat, and like people were like doing like actual dance-offs, and like,
Oh my gosh.
like doing like full-on dance-offs, and like doing like the splits against the wall, and
Like step-up vibes.
and everyone was like, oh, so like, what are you? Like, you a dancer, or you a singer, or you an actress? Like, what are you? Like, everyone was like trying to like,
Like label everything.
yeah. And I remember just like thinking, oh my God, this is just not me.
Wow.
What was you?
I'm not like particularly stagey. Like, even though like I consider myself as like a performer and a creative, but like the musical theatre world is very different. Like, like very different, even to other aspects of like, the performing industry. The musical theatre is, I think, to like make it in the musical theatre world, you have to be so dedicated, eat, sleep, breathe, and be so committed to it. And they just kind of have, not everyone, but I just have other things in my life. Whereas like I thought like a lot of people at theatre school only had time for musical theatre, like only listen to musical theatre soundtracks. Like even when you've gone home after a 12-hour day, like you go home and like listen to like the Wicked soundtrack it's like, I just find that like, whoa, I just want to go home and like switch off. Do you know what I mean? But I loved it. I really did love her, and I wouldn't change. I would not change it at all. But it definitely wasn't an easy experience.
Did you find yourself halfway through the course, even before that, thinking, I am not going into musical theatre?
But did I? Oh, right, okay.
Did you change your mind about?
I don't know. You know, I think like because I always went like wanting to be just like do dance and do kind of like. I don't know. I never really wanted to be like on the West End. I always kind of wanted to be like in music videos and do like cool things. But then I started to realise like the school that I went to, an amazing school, one of the top schools in London, but it's a very.
Can we shout them out?
Yeah, Bird College. Yeah, they're a very musical theatre school. Like they want to produce people for like musical theatre, and everyone's to go on a cruise ship, and there was just things that I just knew that I never wanted to do.
Yeah.
And sort of in third year, that's when you start to go to different auditions and you start to be like, okay, this is real life now. You're going to have to go and find yourself a job. And I was getting these auditions and I was thinking, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be in a cruise ship, and I don't want to be on the other side of the world for like 11 months. And I just find cruise ships really strange. Like loads of my best friends have done them, but like, I know it's physics, but like how do they freaking float? Like, I just get like really like, they freak me out. Like, they freak me out.
Boats freak you out.
Yeah.
They don't make sense.
Just those huge ones.
Lydia, I'm with you.
They're too big. They have, like, water parks on them.
Yeah.
And, like, theme parks.
They're
and like
just fucking heavy. Like, how are they afloat?
Please, thank you. If I get too much into it, it will send me in a spiral. So, but I knew that.
Let's move on.
I
Quick.
knew that I never wanted to do that, and yeah, just certain things. I never want to go to like Paris and do Disney. Lots of things that I didn't want to do.
So what did you want to do before you went to the musical theatre school?
As like I said, I wanted to kind of do more like commercial dance and do like music videos and do
even
like,
as a child.
I don't know really. Like I danced when I was little, and then I stopped for a bit, and then I started dancing again when I was like 10. But it's so funny, but like I never kind of thought further than dance school. Like when I was like 15, 16, I was like, I want to go to London. I want to go be in a dance school. And then I don't think I ever really like thought past that. Yeah. Like I just had this like idea of being in like, you know, like Fame, and it just kind of like when you watch Step Up and you watch all those dance like movies and stuff, like I just kind of had that, like I really idolized like.
So like that was the end goal.
And then when I got there, I was like, oh my God, it's not like it is in the films. Like.
So before we move on, you mentioned going into this school, into Bird College, and being met with all of these big personalities. Yeah. I think something quite invaluable that we could talk about and I could ask your advice on is when you get into a situation like that, you're faced with many big personalities. Do you have any advice on to how to navigate being in that kind of situation, being surrounded by so many big personalities? It
is hard, like, and I think now the advice that I'd give is so much different. I was 18, then I was like, oh my God, like I was so overwhelmed. But now I wouldn't take them so seriously. Yeah. And everyone, when people are kind of like that, they're always trying to like, not cover up something, but I think they're trying to prove something, in ways. So I think you've just got to like kind of take it with a pinch of salt. You'll find the people who you want to be friends with, and do you know what? You'll find. I even like some of them people. I was like, I would never be friends with you, and I end up loving them. Like, you know, don't always judge a book. I'd say maybe like you know, first impressions are important and stuff, but some of the first impressions I got of them, some of these people, I was like, oh my God, I would never ever be friends with you.
And they always end up being the best.
Honestly,
friendships.
And some of them are. So just take it all with a pinch of salt, and like, it's good to be around different people. They bring out different things in you, and but I just wish that I didn't take it all so seriously now. Yeah, but I was just young. And
and you, like you say, 18 is very young, but I do think like that kind of advice of not taking things so seriously is so invaluable, because when you're that age, everything's so serious.
Yeah.
Like you said, you idolized going to a school like this. Serious business.
Yeah.
But then obviously, hindsight's 2020, right? So you look back on that, you're like, I can't take it too seriously. But I just, in the industry as well, when you move on and you get into other parts of the industry where you've met with big personalities, I think it's so important to ground yourself and be like,
Yeah.
don't take it too
100%.
seriously.
Yeah.
I think it applies to life in general.
Life,
doesn't it?
you're so
Yeah,
right,
It's
yeah.
creative industry. I think there's, and even at school, you know, there's people with big personalities, but actually, like you said, they're kind of masking something that's.
Maybe in ways, yeah. I don't want to feel like I love you all, everyone who I went to college with.
We're not talking about your college. We're talking about just everyone.
general.
Everyone in
Yeah.
general.
No,
I've always
I
found that
guess
people
so.
talking the loudest.
It
Typically, there's something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So I would say my advice to your question would be,
Yeah.
like you said, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with you. If you're not the loudest person in the room, it doesn't matter.
That's
Oh my
so
God, 100%.
Doesn't matter at all.
100%.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go on to the next subject?
We can do.
Because you were like, before we move on to the next subject.
I felt like we were moving on a timeline. So,
Oh, yeah.
So we were in third year before I
Okay.
asked that question.
So you finish Bird College.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I going to do with myself now?
Yeah.
What do you do with yourself?
So this is when I think this is when I started to go, oh God, what do I want to do? Because like I said, I was going to all these auditions that were like cruise ships, and I never really had, like, the auditions that I would have wanted, I don't feel like I ever got.
Which was what?
Well, funny because I just said like, oh, I didn't want to do West End, but then I was like, I don't know, I guess I did, but I'd say.
Did you want to do it just because it was something to do?
And everyone else
know,
was
do
doing
you
it,
know- Everyone else
maybe.
was
Yeah,
doing
I don't
yeah.
know, like, it's so funny, like I guess like, what I was saying earlier is I never really thought sort of like beyond, like how life would be sort of beyond dance school, and like I would never want to do the same thing every single day for months at a time or years or 2
That's what
years
I'm
at
saying.
a time.
I can't see you doing a musical.
And I know, and like even I did this when I left. I did this like touring job. This like it was like a pantomime, and we did that for 2.5 weeks. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like it's just like even though we moved around like a lot because it was obviously touring, but it was kind of like okay, 1 o'clock's warm up, 2 o'clock's this, 2:30 show. Do you know, like everything was sort of like on the time. And then you'd have a break in
Regimented,
between because you'd do a matinee and then an evening. Then you'd have sort of break in between. Then you'd have to go back for warm up. And I just felt like everything was just so
Do you feel claustrophobic?
regimented. I don't know if maybe I just felt like Groundhog Day. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Even though you're in a different theatre, it was always kind of the same, and then you're doing the same show, and then some days it'd be like 3 shows a day. And I remember thinking, God, actually, I don't think I'd want to do like a really long contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just kind of, I don't know, I just wasn't really, I did that and I enjoyed it, but I was like, I can't see myself doing like a really long contract. But I graduated in 2018, and then in the summer, and then I moved back to London in the September, and then I kind of had a year of like going, oh my God, what am I going to do, like doing auditions, did a little panto here, did some music videos, did some like random things. And then towards the end of 2019 was when COVID started appearing, and I actually signed with you in December 2019.
Yes.
I remember doing your Polaroids actually.
Yeah, ages ago.
That's wild. Oh
Isn't
my
it?
God.
So I remember signing and being like, oh my God, like we'll talk about how I wanted to get into modelling anyway, maybe later. And then being really excited and finally thinking, oh my God, like this is what I want to do and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And then that whole next year was just nuts.
Yes. And then it all went to shit.
And then,
They did.
but I'm honestly like coming out of COVID and coming out of like lockdown and stuff, like it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Like the best thing that could happen. Yeah, I just feel like my career actually like started after that because it gave me like a reality check. Like, you know, I was doing hostess and I was auditioning for things that I didn't want to do. And I remember thinking, God, like, I don't want to go back to that, or like what's next. Like I remember thinking like I've got so much more to like give. Like I felt like I hadn't really like started a career yet, and so it gave me a bit of like a reality check, and then here we are, you know. And then it all kind of things started to fall into place after that.
Why did you decide you wanted to go into modelling?
Well, I suppose like with modelling and stuff, like you have a lot of like models on your books that are dancers, and I think like dancing and performing and modelling, acting, it's all just like, it's all interlinked. And I had, when I was in like dance school and stuff, I had some friends and a lot of people would say to me like, have you ever thought about doing modelling? And I was like, oh, I don't know, not really. Like I never thought that I could be a model. I think modelling's changed so much, hasn't it, over even the past few years. Like you just associate modelling with like supermodels or catwalk models or like high fashion models.
Yeah.
Like I honestly never thought that like this type of like commercial modelling like could, like that I do now. I just never thought that was like an option. But yeah, I had a friend at college. She was the year above. We call it college. It's uni, but like college. Yeah. So not like when I was 16. I mean when I was at school. And there's a girl who was in the year above me, and she was getting into photography, and she asked me to do a shoot with her. It was like this like what are they called? Like the wind, the fire, the sea, what are they all called?
Elements.
Wind, elements. Yeah, she did this like, I was like, what's the name? She did like this shoot about the elements, and I was the fire.
Of course.
And yeah, basically I did the shoot. There was just a test shoot. We did it like in the Barbican, like round Barbican, and these pictures came back, and they was just really, really nice. And she kept saying like, oh my god, like I love your pictures. And then she did another shoot with me, and then another shoot, and then she was working with this shoe company, and this was all like totally unpaid. And I did a job for her for this shoe company. I got like free shoes or whatever. But then after time, I just was like, oh my god, I've actually got a bit of a portfolio now. Like, let me actually try and like see if I can get signed and actually start making some money off this. Because before that, I was just doing obviously like test shoots. I don't think I did anything paid at all. So yeah, then I ended up kind of getting a bit of a portfolio, and I wrote to you guys, and that's how I got into it.
So you kind of got into it by fluke.
Kind of, in a way. Like, it just kind of happened. I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm going to be a model, like I need to do this. I was kind of helping her out, and then she kind of helped me out. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun. And then I just kind of like, with all of this, just kind of developed a portfolio, which I was just so grateful for. And then
so if we go back to I'm going to go back to your childhood again.
Therapy.
Yes.
So you didn't want to be a model as a child?
No.
Did you think you were good enough to be a model?
That just wasn't even in my, like, I didn't even consider that I would ever, no, not even
Interesting.
Not even a thought.
So you wouldn't have done it if your friend hadn't.
No, I mean, maybe later down the line. I don't know. I really don't know. It just wasn't something that I thought I could do, I suppose.
Interesting.
Not because I was like, oh my god, like I'm insecure, but it just didn't occur to me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I hear that. It's just not a thought. I suppose you were like one track mind to dance and performing.
That's it.
But
I'm trying to think if there was ever something that. Not really. Yeah. No.
Yeah. And would you say that now that you're part of the modelling industry, has it affected or helped, or maybe not helped, the other aspects of your life, the other areas that you work in?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
How so?
Like, I would say, gives you confidence for one. The ability to just meet people on the spot and work with people and get on with them, and you've just met someone for 2 seconds, and then they're like, okay, can you like hold hands in the shoot? Can you act like your best friends? And, like, you know, it gives you, it helps definitely helps like your acting in ways. Yeah, how else can I elaborate on that?
I think that's great. I think the confidence element is...
It's helped with content creating as well.
Yes, 100%. Let's talk about that. Because your content creation has blown up.
Yeah.
I think since the last time I saw you, at least.
I think so, yeah, definitely. That having a lockdown again, like everything is like lockdown, because obviously brands weren't able to shoot in lockdown and stuff. Yeah. So I think they started to then work with creators sort of online and can we get a picture of this? Or if we send you this, would you send us a picture that we can share on our story? And that, like, that's when like the rise of the influencer like popped in.
The rise of the influencer.
Yeah, no, it's real, isn't it? Like, it's funny
I
because
love that.
like kids now would say like, oh, when I'm older, I want to be an influencer, but that just wasn't a thing when I was little.
No, me either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But like, that's a genuine job, isn't it? It's a serious.
No,
Full
you're an
time.
influencer yourself.
Yeah,
aren't you?
it's a job,
definite
like
job.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I think I work the brand Hairbest who I work with now, I've worked with them for years. Wrote me a little message on Instagram. I had 1,000 followers, like 1,300 followers. They're like, we've got amazing hair. We'd love to send you some of our like products. They didn't ask for any content or anything. Just like, let us know what you think about it. And I was like, why do they want to send me products? Like, felt like it was a bit of a scam. And then I just started using it and then loved it. And then they sent me up a discount code. So that's how I got into it. It was through like, I just share stuff to my story and put my discount code and then I'd make commission off the link.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So no one paid me
okay.
for any ads. Like no one said, here's money, can you create this for us? It was just kind of like, do what you want with this. You can make a bit of commission. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I made like a little video, made like a couple of things for Instagram and then started to make a bit of commission.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. Like, I can't believe like people are like actually like purchasing stuff because I've used it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that sort of got rolling. But I'd say I was doing it for about a year without any paid work. Like I would just make commissions or I would ask for free products or someone would say like, we'd love to send you some of our products we'd love in return for a photo. So I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, that's fun. And then like it just kind of like started like that, like a bit of another fluke.
Yeah. I just kind of fell into it.
Like it was just like a bit of fun really.
Yeah.
And then because you don't know what you're doing at first. And I think like a lot of brands do exploit creators. Like I won't mention the brand, but
Please don't.
no, I won't mention the brand. But like but I agreed to it, so it was my own fault. Do you know what I mean? Like they
Okay.
asked
Walk us
for
through
It's not your fault. It's
yeah,
their fault.
I
yeah.
just did have no idea what I was doing.
I
And
think
like,
that's where brands do
Totally.
target
Yeah.
is when they
Totally,
can see
and they asked like they sent me some product and asked for some video footage back, and I didn't even edit the video. It was just I sent them loads of raw footage in a folder in return for the content.
Okay.
And then it got boosted into like paid ads like all around the world, like it was everywhere, like, and everyone was screenshotting me this thing, and it was coming up on Instagram, it's coming up on YouTube, it's coming up on like Facebook, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing, like look, I'm on all these ads, and then like now I know, you idiot, like
things you didn't know.
the things you, I was like, oh my God,
And they
like
exploited that.
yeah, and that was probably one of the biggest pushed ads I've seen.
Really?
Like, yeah.
That's so cheeky.
But you live and you learn. You live and you learn.
that's
Because
it.
you have no idea that I could have made a career out of that either.
So so a girl, guy,
Mm-hmm.
non-binary, a person, a human who gets a DM and the message is like, can you do this for us?
Yeah.
And what should the person be asking for?
Yeah.
So is this if they were like thing
Could
is,
be
like,
anyone.
if you
Doesn't have to be a
want
model.
get into content
Yeah.
creating, I actually think sometimes you are gonna have to do some stuff for free. Like even with modelling, you have to go for test shoots, you have to build your portfolio. Like with content creating as well, you need to show that you can produce the quality of content
Sure.
that they want,
Sure.
or they, you know, you can produce the reels. So if it's like your first time like content creating, you've got no idea where to start, I would like definitely say like reach out to brands, say, you know, in return for product or image, like you can do like a little like swapsies thing. Do you know what I mean? Like these brands probably aren't going to be paying you hundreds of thousands of pounds
Yeah.
if you
Just started.
don't really have much
Yeah.
following, or you can't prove that, you know, you can content create. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'd say as long as they're not making it into like paid ads.
Okay, so definitely say to them, you cannot do paid advertising.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say no. I would
Okay.
say you could just kind of do, just agree for sort of
Organic. social.
organic,
Yeah.
or just maybe in return for an image that they could use on their feed, but organically, not for paid social.
Okay.
Anything that goes on like paid social, you should 1,000,000% be getting paid for that, because they're gonna put so much money behind this ad, boost it, and probably
And
make
that's
a
you.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should absolutely be
How
paid
much
for
should
that.
that's probably a bit too personal. So just give us a ballpark. How much should they roughly be asking for?
It's honestly, it just varies. Depends.
Job to
You
job.
should be asking like, how long are you going to put it on paid social for? Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be
So it's
3
almost
months?
like usage fees.
It's
basing it
100%.
around that,
Honestly,
yeah.
it's even I don't know. I'm talking to you now. I don't have all the answers. Like it's everything is case by everything is case by case.
Sure.
But it is just such a mad world. It is, and it's
Yeah.
like
It's so new and ever evolving, I feel like.
and it is like a real job. Like you'll have deadlines and you'll have sort of to do. You'll have to send a first draft, and then your draft may need to be edited. It may need to be edited for a second time. Usually they can ask for 2 amendments. So if you can amend it once, they might say, okay, really nice, but there's a few more things that we'd like you to do. If they kind of go on any further than that, they're taking the piss a bit. And then they should pay you further.
Sure.
Sure.
You use a normal camera. Don't use a.
I just use my iPhone,
Yeah.
but I will say, like, the content creators that like these days are
Invest.
nuts and they're brilliant. But like, it annoys me in some ways because I feel like I worked with this other brand and I did they give me so many critiques, and then they were like, amazing, great, thanks. Can you have a look at this, and all that. What they were sending me was like very sort of like edity, like videography, and like, can you snap this word in at like 0.5 seconds and have da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, wow.
And like I've learnt to do it now, but oh my god, like, you know, at first you're like, oh my god, I just had my iPhone, I just snapping it together, and like the social media has just advanced so much. Like it's more than just, you know, taking something on the iPhone. It's all about how you produce it and edit it and, you know,
It's all
meet
about
the needs of the
engagement,
client. Yeah, and it's just getting harder and harder, but there's just a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose it's one of those you learn as you go, kind
You
of thing,
do,
with different
you
experiences.
You do, yeah.
So we had a guest on recently who very much worked for herself and marketed, and was very prevalent on the fact that she marketed herself as a business. Is that something that you would say is quite crucial in the world of being an influencer?
Yeah.
And if that is the case, when it comes to these paid jobs and, you know, they ask for a certain amount of imagery or a certain amount of content, do you have to draw up any sort of contract or anything written for them to sign?
So usually that will all be done from the brand side.
Right, okay.
Or a lot of things are done through agencies. So like a brand will approach like a social media marketing agency, and it will all kind of be done through them. So I've never written up a contract or anything.
Sure.
But just read them. Just read them.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, having an influencer agent can be very. I don't have an agent for my influencer, and I kind of
Any
navigate
reason
it
why?
all. Yeah, obviously they take a cut, and then I'd have to. I think I'd be working for less than I'd be comfortable working with, so I'd have to up my rates a lot. And also because I do so many other things, I just need a bit of like flexibility and kind of just navigating my own weeks and what's right for me. And I don't know, I think when you have like a more one-on-one relationship with a brand, like, you know, if something came up or wasn't able to film or I needed a bit of extra time, I can just kind of have that, like, I've got that rapport with them. And whereas if I had an agent, I think everything would be much stricter, because my agent would want everything running the way it should be, and I wouldn't want them to like get annoyed at me, or if I was getting a bit overwhelmed with things, because you do like even with modelling, like Marcus might say to me, job tomorrow 9 o'clock, yeah, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
and then you just go. But yeah, I just find it easier for myself at the minute with all my different jobs, navigating myself.
Yeah, just having something that you have complete autonomy over.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Yeah, I
Sometimes
appreciate
it's
that.
shot me in the foot because I've not read something or like properly, or there's been like a misunderstanding over like fees
Or
and
late payments.
what? Sorry,
Late payments.
And that's another thing I'm really bad at, like invoicing and stuff. So if I had an agent, that would make my life easier.
So I would say, and no, I run an agency, but I would say as a model, if you want to be really smart, have an agency, but don't rely on the agency. So say what you're doing is perfect. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're managing to extrapolate a lot of different things from different places
Yeah.
to enhance your incomings in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yeah.
Because an agency is really just a place where you're making your money. Sounds really bad to say that because I run an agency, but if you're clever, then you do what you're doing, which is just kind of using everything to your advantage.
That's what I've
And making smart decisions based on your knowledge of those specific
exactly.
things.
And
Yeah.
and only doing things that I want to do. Whereas I
Yes.
think if I had an agent in the like influencing industry, they might say, oh, we've got
Everything.
this like
Yeah.
this really cool collab that we want you to do, and I just I do not say yes to everything. I actually turn down a lot of things.
What would be the reasons for that?
Sometimes it might just be like, for example, I only really ever diffuse my hair. Like that's like your curly sort of,
Yeah.
scrunch thing, hairdryer diffuser. So I've had like brands being like, oh, we'd love you to use this curling tool or this straightening tool. And it's not that, I just actually don't know how to use them. It's just not authentic to me. Like if I had to straighten my hair, I just wouldn't feel comfortable being like, oh my God, like, because I know I'd never use it after that. I just like my hair curly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've said no to some of those things before.
So you say no to things that you wouldn't use yourself.
Yeah, like I
mean,
just
yeah.
wouldn't really straighten my hair. It might be like nice as a once-off, like a one-off, but
Not something you would want
not something I
to
would
put out
want.
yourself.
Yeah, and be like, oh, as an ad, be like, oh my God, I use this all the time. Like,
No, I respect that
Do you
because
know?
influencing is it's a personal trade, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are relying on you
Yeah.
to influence them
Yeah.
in specific things that are personal to said influencer.
Yeah. Yes.
So I really respect that because there are people out there who would, for the sake of money.
so
I'm not saying there's
sold to
anything
that.
necessarily
Yeah.
wrong with that, but I just respect that from your standpoint, you're like, no, I'm going to do things that are organic to me, things that I would actually put out. Of
yeah,
my-
exactly.
you
Just
know.
some things that just some things I'm like, oh, I just know that I would never use that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be right for you or for me because
It's not authentic.
it's just not authentic.
Yeah, fair
So
play.
it's definitely, I think that's another important thing as well. It's like finding what you actually do want to, what your niche is.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to have like a career with longevity. If like you said, like people actually believe that you use those products, rather than just using, oh my God, yeah, I'll do that. And you're like, oh my God. What do you like, or what do you like?
True,
what is your thing,
true.
or
So true.
So just finding what your sort of niche is.
Yeah.
Niche is the word.
I think that's really good advice.
Yeah, your brands. Yeah, your brands. You
brand,
are your
'cause you
business.
are a
Yeah,
business.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
So you've been in London since you were 18. So
Yeah, 8
a
years.
long time. 8
Oh, yeah.
years. Maths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick man.
How, again, I want to go back to the whole daunting thing for people who move into London. You've managed to survive.
I've
What's
survived.
your-
Yeah.
She survived and she's thrived.
And she's thrived.
Yes.
What's your advice to someone who wants to move to London?
I would say London is like, it can be a very overwhelming place, 100%, and you feel like, I think at home, when you're sort of in a much smaller environment and you think you're like the bee's knees or whatever, and then you go somewhere and you just realise you're just actually such a small person in this big city. But give it time. Like if I'd have left, I was so close to like just leaving.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember ringing my mum like, I'm coming home. I don't think I'm gonna last till Christmas. Like.
Oh, wow.
And I think you've just got to really like, once you give it a chance, like you will love it. Like you really will. But embrace yourself in like the London lifestyle, and because I think sometimes it's really hard. But I was obviously very young and I wasn't making much money, but I felt like I was only just kind of. There was a time as well, just kind of after I graduated, where I was just kind of going to work, going to the gym, and going home, all in a very close like proximity. And I just felt like I was doing this little triangle like all week, and I was like, this isn't why I moved. I didn't move to London to like live in Palmer's Green and just go to the shop to the like. Do you know what I mean? Like, so get out, and like sometimes it is tiring. London's massive. Like at home, like. If I was even going to Manchester for the day, which is like 40 minutes on the train, I'd be like, oh, it's so far, but like it's so not. But London's big, and just like just embrace it and like go into like town and go and see shows and do things on the weekend. Like just do all the little London life things, you know. I think you've got to embrace yourself from that, because there's so much more. If you're just kind of working, and especially like when it gets like to this time of year and it's like dark and rainy and you just go to work, go to home, go to work, go to home, it just doesn't feel
like you're living.
like you're living. Yeah, I was like, why did I move to London? Like, definitely wasn't for this, because I think I could have just gone and moved back home and done that. Do you know what I mean? So have fun and embrace the London life.
How do they have fun with no money? What's your advice for them to survive?
We're really going into cost of living because he lives.
That is
into the chat.
But do you know what? Like, London has got so many great little places. Go and get a few little tinnies if that's your thing. If not, or like it might not be. Go and get an alcohol-free
beverage.
So you're saying if they have no money to go to the pub,
no, not go to work. Like, go and have like a little walk on the South Bank.
go for a
or
walk
like,
with no money.
Yeah, she's got legs. Walk.
You know what? Lydia's got a point. In lockdown,
That's
so
what
I
we
moved.
did, yeah.
I moved to London just before. So we'd just come out of the first lockdown. I thought, no way, we're gonna have another lockdown. And then I was like, let me move to London now. 3 more lockdowns later. All I did was walk. I just walked. I just walked across London.
Paid your bills.
Yeah, I did. I remember I'd go to like
Life. It was worth living.
Go get a coffee. Go to like the flower market.
Have you got any advice for them to make some money?
Oh, please don't. Like,
Why are you coming out with all these left field questions? It's been such a hot.
Well, so my question ultimately is survival. Fine, you're talking about the social stuff, which is wonderful, but you worked hard. You do work hard.
You're across so many different things.
And there's a point where we had a conversation like 2-3 years ago.
I remember.
And I was like, you need to stop working that hard.
Yeah.
But you worked hard. That's how you survived.
Yeah.
So would your advice be to work hard? No?
Work smart. Work smarter and harder.
Smarter and harder.
Because now I work way less than I used to work. Oh, I don't know. I just feel like I'm preaching because, like, I feel like I'm.
You don't want to Kim K list.
Yeah,
But you're not privileged though, because you haven't come from privilege.
No, I'm not. But no, I'm not. I'm definitely not.
I know you're not.
But I don't know. I think it's hard for me to say, like, I don't know, because like the life that I have now, like modeling and content creating, can be so well paid for such
such little work.
Totally.
But you weren't like 2-3 years ago. You weren't doing that. You were.
No, I was doing the 12-hour shifts.
Yes,
and
12. Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
knackered.
You worked hard, which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
But no,
and you've got yourself to where you are now from working hard. I guess my point is, when you first come into modeling industry or any performance industry, you need to be able to think to yourself, I need to work hard to survive, especially if you move into London as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got yourself to a place where now you're more comfortable. You can take less shifts. You can have fun, like you've been talking about now. But I think to get to that stage, you've had to put that hard work in, which I think everyone watching this should appreciate as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, I never came from a privileged background.
Not at all.
What?
Well, I know.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we've had this conversation.
I'm joking. But I guess I did work hard. I spent so long, like, literally running across London with my suitcase, doing test shoots and like buying clothes and then taking them all back and
going to work.
And going to work and like now it's I did definitely like put the work in that then.
So with that part of your life, going back to Marcus's question, how would you answer Marcus's question from that stage of your life?
I don't know. I feel like it's hard.
It's tricky. It is, and I don't want to catch you out. That was when what? Sorry,
I wasn't as happy then.
Yeah,
well, that's the point. You're not going to be happy.
Yeah,
like, you can't. For me, you've said 2 different things. One is go out, have fun, blah blah blah. Fantastic. I can do that, but I need to pay my bills as well. So you put in that work to get to where you are now. And I feel people need to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice at some point to get to the point where you are now, which is you can pick and choose. You're turning down brands because you're being ethical about your choices, which is great. Many people be like, I'm taking that job because I want to pay my rent.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I see.
What I'm trying to say is that you've put in the hard work to get to this place where you are now, which is fantastic. I've seen the progression, but you've had to put in the hard work to get there, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcus. With your help, of course.
I've been a fraction of help. You've done the hard work yourself.
Yeah.
You got yourself those jobs in terms of the gym. you've done a PT course. Like,
Yeah.
you've done a lot of stuff to get
Yeah,
to where
yeah,
you
yeah.
are. You've really grafted.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, anyone watching you now will be like, oh, she's got a luxury life. Like, she's just sitting there, she's going abroad, she's having a great time. You've put the hard work in to get to this
It's
stage.
good to shine a light on that
And it
too.
sounds so obvious, but just do what you want to do. Like, that's another thing. Like, while I was kind of like unhappy back then, it's because when I was working these like 12-hour shifts, like hostessing, and I just remember thinking, I don't want to do this. Like, and I love fitness, and ended up getting into like fitness instructing, and that's like a big part of my life, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I would be the person I am without it. I don't think I'd be as happy, honestly. Like, the endorphins that you get from like stuff like that, it's just so much fun. But just doing what you want to do, and that might be being a hostess, and, you know, kind of like being a head hostess and working at events and things like that. That's what I was kind of doing before. I didn't like it, but as long as you're doing what you want to do, like, I think you will find success in whatever that means to you.
Yeah. But just persevering and
being consistent.
Yeah, 100%. I just knew before that. I was like, this isn't it for me. Like, this can't be.
And you know what? I think when you're in that mindset and you're like, this isn't it, but I will find what is, I think that graft and that perseverance and that courage to keep going is invaluable to your experience.
Yes.
So what's next? What's next for Lydia?
What
Because you've
is
been
next?
to every European country
Have you? You've been
this
doing
year.
that?
No, I
Been
haven't.
you've
I've
been
been
on
on
tour.
3 holidays.
You
but
do this
Marcus
to
thinks
everyone.
that I'm like,
You know what? You could even think about going on holiday. Max is like, can you calm down, please?
yes, You need a holiday.
You need
I
a
do.
holiday.
I'm projecting.
You are
You're projecting. You are
Projecting
so
hard.
projecting.
But you've been on many
I do
holidays.
like a little holiday, but I go in like I go in shorter stints, you know.
Okay.
I go for like a 5-6 day little holiday, a little, like, rather than going on a 2-week somewhere in like Asia or somewhere like far. I just kind of do little short breaks. But because I'm freelance, like, because if I took like 2 weeks off work, I would be like, oh my God, I've took 2 weeks off work.
Yeah.
I've not been paid for 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though, like, being self-employed, I was saying to you kind of earlier before we started filming, like, you need to, like, just think differently. You can't think of, like, month by month. I'd say kind of look at your year. But yeah, if I took 2 weeks off work, I'd probably have a meltdown. Yeah.
Do you pick countries that are aesthetically pleasing for your social media?
No. I just go and love holidays and just the cheapest bloody package.
I love that.
I'm not
Fucking
like,
real.
Like, I'm not. No. I think I went to Benidorm. I went to Benidorm in August.
She
like,
knows what she likes.
I just like
And
a good
sticks to
time,
it.
you know. I just like a good time. I'm not like I need to be in this, like, you know, Mykonos or somewhere. No. Just go wherever the fun is, you know.
I love
Make
that.
it fun. Yeah.
Make it fun. Get some content as
Yeah,
well.
get some
some
content, make it fun.
Get that natural light.
But yeah, I went to Portugal and that was gorgeous. I've never,
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Oh,
but Benidorm was a
dream.
whole different ball game. But
Is it like the TV show?
yeah, it really.
Obsessed.
Do you know what? That's my 3rd time in Benidorm.
Stop.
Yeah, that's my 3rd time. Went when I was younger with my parents, family, and then we went again when I was about 20. We went again with the family, and then I took my mates this time.
Oh my God. What was it like with your mates? Was it
Hilarious.
I
I've
can imagine it
never
being
laughed so much.
fun.
Honestly, like, it was brilliant. Like, it was hilarious. But we're all like, Benidorm's one of them places, like, if it's not for you, it really is just not for you.
Yeah.
But like, we love karaoke. We all need to be centre of attention. Like, we're all like those. We were like 4 best friends.
You're
and
selling it.
We'll just like, yeah, we just like a good time. So yeah, we're just like easy going.
Oh, fantastic.
So it was really fun. But like, if you're not really into like stuff like that, I don't know, karaoke's not for you, or you find it a bit like maybe it's not for you.
Yeah,
do you
just
know what I
maybe leave it be. I dare you to go to Benidorm.
I
it's
wouldn't mind
hilarious.
it.
It's
Do you think?
I
brilliant.
wouldn't mind it.
Karaoke
what?
song of choice.
Yeah,
Oh,
sounds
on.
great.
What would you sing?
Go on. what's your
Ooh, I
karaoke
think
song?
Try Little Tenderness, Otis Redding.
Oh,
that would really
I
go
could-
down. Yeah.
that's a
Get
treat.
it done. Get it done.
Yeah,
Just get it
100%.
done.
Love that. That was so, like, you were there
Yeah.
with the answer.
Yeah,
I
I've been
know.
there many times in my head.
What about
Yeah.
you? What about you?
Mine's Proud Mary, Tina Turner.
That is
a
a
big
good
song.
one.
Dance
It
routine and
a
all.
big
Yeah,
song.
with the bit at the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, you've
You
got
know.
such a long
Slow
time.
bit.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Na, na, na,
it.
Yeah. What's yours?
So I always usually do That Don't Impress Me Much by Shania Twain.
Fantastic.
But me and my best mate Ellie, we always used to do Valerie. And then we realised that's the most basic karaoke song.
Very Glee.
Yeah, it is actually. So we parted ways and now we both do solos.
Oh,
but
nice.
I do.
Broke up the band. But I think for the greater good.
The band broke up. But yeah, it was fun. It was so fun.
Oh, amazing.
Hilarious. Food is terrible, guys. Like,
Oh, okay.
awful, dreadful.
I mean, peaks and troughs, you know. You got to pick. You got to pick what
No,
you
you
need.
don't.
yeah, it's literally just like
Sacrifices need to be made for the great good of
pretty
Benidorm.
much. Yeah, hot dogs, chips, burgers.
Oh, hot dogs and chips.
Like,
I'm
That's
in.
a bit
kind
of
of
you.
like-
That's
in.
your diet.
I'm
We
in.
did have one really nice meal at this Italian restaurant that was lovely, but
Fantastic.
other than that, you know, it's a bit. I wouldn't say, you know, you go there for the food.
Yeah.
What do you go there for?
You go there for a
You go there for the
good
vibes.
time, for the vibes, for a laugh. It's hilarious. It really is. Cheap and cheerful.
And tinnies.
And the
A
tennis.
few tinnies.
No tinnies.
No
you know. It's
tinnies?
cheaper in the bar. So
Oh,
cheap,
get a
like-
cocktail.
cocktails like €6. Fantastic.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You two are going?
Yeah, we're all going.
Doesn't surprise me.
Come.
Doesn't
Mary,
surprise
come
me. You two. Is Mary going?
Mary's coming.
Would you like a tinny?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Karaoke song of choice.
So what? Pink.
Oh, nice.
Good one.
That's 10 out of 10
Love
choice.
a bit of pink.
Yeah. So your song is That Don't Impress Me
That
Much.
Don't
Her
Impress
song is So
Me
What,
Much.
and your song is Proud Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong.
All for you.
Nice.
I reckon that's a solid set. If
Solid
we went
set.
in,
Yeah.
Yeah, the most feminist songs
that would
possible.
be amazing. Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
what's next?
What is next?
No,
We
no,
just
for
so,
you,
like,
for you.
We just went
For
into
you.
like Benidorm holidays.
Well,
didn't
that's
we?
how our last recording
is
ended
next
up
for
being
me?
2 hours. Yeah.
We just want to,
Yeah.
What's next?
What is next? It's hard to know what's next, isn't it? When
Mm-hmm.
everything is so.
What do you want to be next?
Do
Are
you
you
know what?
just-
I've actually ticked off some of my goals, and I think now it's time
New goals.
for the new goals.
I like that.
I've definitely ticked off some things that I have like a planner, like a law of attraction planner, and then usually at the start of every year I write down things that I want to achieve, and like looking back, I've achieved so many of those things, and I think now it's time to set the new ones.
Love that.
Nice.
But I haven't thought about that much yet.
Okay.
I
Well,
love that.
next
Could
time
you,
we see you.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
Bring it with you. Bring the
I don't
planner
know
with you.
what I would think of, what I want to do next.
No. Do you have, just to round out the podcast, your big thing for 2024? It could be personal, it could be professional, but do you have something in mind that you're like, that's going to be it? That's my theme for 2024. Have I got that year right?
Yeah.
I have.
You have, and I wish that
Times of
I
social
wish I
construct.
had the answer, but I actually don't.
And I think that's beautiful within itself.
Yeah, and I'll figure that out. Like I had sort of like things down. Like I wanted to do like an international job. Done that. I wanted to go into a shop and see myself, which I'm going to be in for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wish shop.
super jug.
Beautiful.
Ah,
Yeah.
How did you get that?
congratulations.
For you. And just some of these.
How did you get that?
And yeah, just some of these things that I always like kind of wanted to achieve in my career, I've been achieving. So yeah, maybe it's time to set the next ones. But I'm not quite sure yet.
Last question.
Yeah.
Fame or fortune?
Fortune. I do not want to be famous. Like
Really?
no, I'd like to be. How can I say it? Like my best friend Ethan is obsessed. Like wants to be famous. Like thinks that like he wants to walk down the street and be papped. I would just not want that. Like that. I would just not want that. I like my privacy in
Yeah.
ways, but definitely I'd love to
Be living lavish.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't think I would like to be famous. Like I just even when like you watching like reality TV and stuff, and you just kind of love to hate people, don't you? You think
Yeah, it's the instant
you go
thing.
on, yeah, and even you go on like social media and people just slate. I just could not take it.
No.
I could not. I would not. No.
You couldn't take it, no?
No.
Even if you had like 1,000 comments that were nice, and 10 comments that were bad?
No, I reckon I'd fixate on the 10 bad comments.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
So how do you... Sorry, I know we're meant to
go
end,
for it,
but
go
I
for
just have a question off
Yeah.
the back of that. With influencing being quite rife in what you do, how do you maintain that? Because surely... Do you get a lot of backlash negatively?
Not really, but I think, like... I see myself as more of like I think there's different types of content creators and different type of influencers.
Okay.
My sort of like type of content creating and influencing is kind of like hair and beauty work.
Sure.
So I very much feel like these are the products, this is my brief, this is the job I've got to fulfill. It doesn't really feel in some ways, depends on but like very personal. Do you know whether like this is me and this is a day in my life, and you know like some content creators that are just that have a lot more of their life out there that can be, or have their kids out there, or have things that can be up for. I think mine's a bit different.
It's very objective what you do. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, and I think
tangible.
that is my. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does, yeah.
Like some TikTokers who post like 3 times a day about just what they're eating for breakfast and what they're doing and whatever, but that's how they make their money, and we're obsessed with that, and like but I think mine's a bit more is kind of different.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm really exposed in ways to a lot of what's that? Oh, is it the camera?
Your camera, yeah. That's the end of the podcast.
But no, that absolutely makes sense. Yeah. For sure.
Lydia, you've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for joining
fun.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you take us out with Shania Twain's Tones?
Don't do that to me, Rob.
You can do it.
No.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
No, that's right.
No, that's
That is it. That is.
No, that's what's the other
You're
one?
singing "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does "Don't Impress Me" much start?
I known a few guys who thought they were pretty smart, but you've got being right down to an art. You got it?
Yeah.
You think you're a genius, you drive me up the wall. You're regular, original, know it all.
Hey.
Oh, welcome, Marcus.
I don't know the words. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much,
There you
Lydia.
go. My single will be out next week.